Class! Ah! Class!
Don't take Ghost with this fucking bullshit.
Well, we've already got to put a language warning on
Sorry.
this one. Welcome aboard, everyone, to Doctor Review. My name's Chris.
I'm not Chris.
And she's not amused as well. If you have been watching / following this series for a while, or you've been playing catch up, then you may remember we did K9 and Company when it came out in our marathon. In terms of when it came out, we made a YouTube video in the 80s. No, we did K9 and Company when we got up to it in our marathon. In terms of the chronology of Doctor Who stuff, we did a retrospective on the Sarah Jane Adventures where we watched a selection of stories.
Yeah.
And I filled you in on the gaps.
Have an ice cream.
And we watched, did a Torchwood retrospective where we watched a selection of stories.
No, please.
I filled you in on the gaps. But then we also watched Children of Earth separately because it's like the best piece of media related to Doctor Who ever released as far as I'm concerned. So we wanted to make sure that we got that covered. You might remember that after both of those initial retrospectives, not Chris's reaction was, I kind of want to watch the whole show now. For both of them, you're like, I kind of wish we'd watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, here we are presented with the fourth official Doctor Who spin-off after K9 and Company, Torchwood, Sarah Jane Adventures, where the whole thing exists.
Stop, leave me alone.
The cat is...
Sorry.
Yeah, for those who are listening along and wondering what the hell's happening. The whole thing's available. So surely not Chris would want to watch the whole thing.
No. No, please.
Yeah, we're here to talk about class.
I'm not talking to the cat. No, please.
We're here to talk about class. Regular listeners / viewers may also be like, hang on, that little easel you got there, that little plastic easel, usually has the DVD or Blu-ray on of the thing that you watched.
You put it there just to make a point.
I will never buy this.
No.
As a viewer, I was like, oh, Doctor Who spin-off back in 2016. Oh, a new one. Okay. Cool. It's been a while since we've had one. Let's give it a go. 2011, Miracle Day and Sarah Jane Adventures Series 5. It's been 5 years since we've had a spin-off. Let's go, boys! And then, because it was also the year we started our podcast, then called Big Damn Cast, my friend Matt and I were committed to it. We both watched the first 2 episodes and both went, this is horrendous, and our listeners went, your thoughts were hilarious, please keep reviewing it. So we did. We even did a commentary for the last episode, which, in a cruel twist of fate, the audio file got corrupted and we had to re-record it.
Oh my god.
We had to watch the episode initially. You remember this?
I remember.
We had to watch the episode, and then we had to watch it as a commentary. And then, and this is no secret, we gave this away at the time, we had to redo it about a week later, pretending it was the first time again.
That's so sad.
Just, For those who are unfamiliar, Class is a spin-off of Doctor Who aimed at, who knows? Like, I guess...
Someone.
Let's be honest, it wishes it was Buffy. It wants to be Buffy. It steals liberally from Buffy. It was devised by young adult fiction author, as in fiction for young adults, not he's a young adult, Patrick Ness, and is proof positive that he is not built for adapting his work to a visual medium. Now you might go, hang on, that's a bit of a big statement to make, like, you know, surely every author should have a shot at... No, sorry, some authors cannot write scripts. They just can't do it. Either because they miss the tone, they don't understand plot structure of a film, yet somehow could do it in a book. Queen Megaturf, J.K. Rowling's a great example. The script to... We've seen the first 2 Fantastic Beasts movies. We didn't bother with the third, did we? Mm-hmm. But the script to the first 2, both of them are abysmal. The story structure is horrendous. The character dialogue is awful.
He said, she said, they said.
Oh, no, yeah, but... There's a world-building skill that she imparted that obviously won over the imaginations of millions of people worldwide. Whereas, when she wrote 2 screenplays, it proved, without a shadow of a doubt, that she does not understand story structure in a different medium at all.
No.
Patrick Ness is the same. His movie adaptation of Monster Calls, which is like one of his more successful books, came and went. People liked it, but it was just there, and then it happened, and it was gone. No one really talks about it. It's not a modern classic. It's like 5 years out, 6 years out now.
What's this?
A Monster Calls. It's an adaptation of one of his books. No one talks about it. Class. He was the showrunner. He wrote some of the scripts. He like mapped out the story. No one talks about it.
Do you want to know something depressing?
Oh, go on.
On Google, 73% of people liked it.
Based on what, Rotten
Experience.
Tomatoes?
Yeah, no, Google users. It's got 6.8 out of 10 on IMDb.
See, Class is a curious case of attempted engagement in the age of social media being more important to the production than making a good product. Patrick Ness also, of course, wrote the book Chaos Walking, the film adaptation of which was so tumultuous and troubled that when it was eventually released, containing two of the biggest stars of the UK at that point, Tom Holland and Daisy Ridley, no one saw it because it was delayed like 4 or 5 years in a row.
Yeah.
Had reshoots up the wazoo. You could play a drinking game with it on like spot when someone's wearing a wig or is noticeably older than they were in the other scene. It's just. I'm sure there's a reason his books do well. There's a reason his books do well, and I've never read one. I am sure he's a fantastic young adult author. I'm sure he creates brilliant stories for older kids and younger teens, and I'm sure he absolutely has his skill set, which is undeniably, superb in its delivery, execution, and reception. But it ain't in TV, it ain't in film. This ain't it, Chief.
I was laughing then because one of the search things was, when is Class Season 2 out?
Yeah. We're going to talk about that. If you're watching this, we presume you have seen Class, but for those who are unfamiliar yet don't know about watching it, here's a basic summary. 4 students plus one of their partners plus a teacher are all dragged into forcibly having to protect Coal Hill Academy, formerly Coal Hill School of Doctor Who fame, i.e. of like 5 stories over 50 years. When a sort of tear in space-time coupled with the oncoming of a vicious alien species known as the Shadowkin begin to interfere with the area, because they're aware of it, their job is to essentially keep on top of it and solve any problems that come their way. This job is given to them by a random time traveller who's met 2 of them before, and is a grossly irresponsible thing for the Doctor to do. This is also there's been 4 spin-offs, yeah? Obviously Kane and Company was just basically a TV movie, it was never more than that, but that's 3 that had more than 1 episode. This is the 2nd one of which the Doctor has shown up in. And it's the one where in the exact same episode, a woman gets gutted.
Yep.
And a dude's leg gets cut off, moments earlier. Yep. It feels weird. Let's very briefly touch on Capaldi being in this. He's really good in this. He's in it for 10 minutes, and he's like, oh, wow, I wish we were watching his Doctor Who instead of this show.
Do you know what? I really like this new actor, Peter Capaldi. I think he's dead good,
What on earth are you talking about?
This being the first thing he's ever been in, it's great. No.
That was you making a bridging joke while you turned your switch back on. That joke made no sense whatsoever. And as a punishment, you must now vaguely describe who each of the characters are. Go! Because, in preparation for this, not Chris was politely forced, to watch the first and last episode of Class Series 1.
I appreciate that you didn't make me watch the whole thing.
I was never going to force that on you.
Because I would.
Good Lord, I was never going to do that to you.
I mean, I have a short attention span.
We know, you're playing your Switch when you're meant to be doing a review.
I know, but I'm not doing anything, special.
Take a shot every time she clearly loses the train of thought.
Well, you just started talking.
Go on.
That doesn't count.
Who is April?
I haven't got a clue. Is that the main girl whose heart got stolen or something?
Yep, that's April. So what's her bag? What's
She's
her
got
bag?
a really long neck. Bless her heart. Sorry.
Wow! Wow. Wow. I'm putting a separation ampersand between us. I'm disassociating from that bloody statement.
You said it, not
No,
me.
I never said it.
Yeah, you did!
On camera, I didn't.
Yeah.
Keep going.
I'm
not editing this out.
Yeah, she's...
What's April? What's she like?
That was bland.
Yep. Who is Tanya?
Is that the kid that's...
Who's like years
why
ahead?
do I know this? I'm so bad with names.
Because the show does some things like adequately. It establishes who they all are. What's Tanya's bag? She's younger.
She's smart. Her mum forces her to do
There you go. I was going to say, what's her relationship with the family like? She is in sixth form despite being 14, 15.
She is also bland.
Okay. Who is Ram?
The most dramatic actor I've ever seen in my life. Wow. He has some facial expressions. Wow. Yeah,
Fady doesn't just emote. He emotes in all capitals with no restraint.
Yeah, wow.
I'm going to say it now. I think every actor in this is a good actor. I think their performances in this show are not necessarily good performances. And a lot of that is down to the direction. These are young actors cutting their teeth. And no one's saying, yeah, maybe pull that back. Or no one's framing it in a way where it's like, give me unbridled, raw emotion, and the way we're going to cut, the way we're going to work with it is for the mood of the scene. No, they just sit them in the middle of a frame and go, do this with your face! And we'll just hold on you for like 30 seconds at a time.
And we're going to do
feels
slow.
so wrong. It's like...
You are very diplomatic.
No, that's the thing. I've not seen all of them in enough stuff to go, they're bad actors. Like, they would not have been cast by, keep in mind, Andy Pryor, who has cast all of the modern Who shows since it began. He would not have cast them if he thought they were crap.
I'm not...
A lot of this is not... They are not showcased well at all. And that is a big... It's shown up a lot when they're up against someone who's got like 15, 20 years worth of experience alongside them, who has clearly sort of read the script, understood what show she's in, and decided to play it to the right level of camp and weird detachment that it kind of needs.
Is that the teacher?
To make it more interesting. Yeah, now you got a microbe of Miss Quill because you only watched 2 episodes. She shines a lot as the whole series goes on.
She's very pouty.
Christ alive, yeah, that first and last episode is basically just, you will now be this. You will pout and postulate.
It's not good.
But the difference between Catherine Kelly and everyone else is you get the sense she's read the script and gone, oh, all right, I get it, I think.
Did it?
Whereas
was
the rest
there a
of them
script?
Well, yeah, it explains why it's so bad. Who's Miss Quill?
She's angry and pouty.
And what's her deal?
Bland.
No, what's her deal?
Oh. She's an alien.
She's the survivor of her race.
She killed everybody and she's being punished by having to look after this guy.
Yeah, like...
Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, the Quill went up against the...
students.
The Rhodians, one of which is Charlie, played by Greg Austin, who's the prince, the surviving prince of that species, the Rhodians. Greg Austin, whose entire wardrobe and hair and makeup is so Prince William coded, it's kind of gross.
Kind of gross.
Do you know what I mean? I pointed and I am no royalist at all.
What's
abolish the
opposite of a
freaking
royalist?
monarchy.
That's what Christopher is.
Yeah, abolish the monarchy. But like, it's so weird how they went, well, he's a prince, just Prince William, like age sort of 15 to 20, make him look like that. Like, Greg Austin is a handsome guy. He looks like a bobblehead, he looks like one of the bobbleheads that perform in that little show at the start of Shrek when they get to Duloc.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
He's just... They've given him this weird sort of, side part haircut, but with a swishy fringe.
Yeah.
All of his clothing is laced with Union flag colouring, either as tartan or, the laces or whatever. It's not the Union flag, but it's there to try and make your brain go, Oh, right. Like, just the tiny parts of your brain associating with royalty.
The tiny brain.
Yeah, but do you know what I mean? It's that it's that sort of jobby, right? It's just, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah, also blonde.
Yeah, which is a
Very
massive
blonde.
shame because, like, there's a lot of weight to that. And then Jordan Renzo as Matus, who is not listed as one of the main cast, but is in, like, I
don't know
think
who that
7
is.
of the, Charlie's boyfriend. He's in, like, 7 of the 8 episodes. One of the big issues I have with the cast in this is they're all playing it theatrically. Like, and I don't mean like Catherine Kelly's, going for a very theatrical delivery. I mean, like, they're playing it like they're in a theatre. They're playing to the back row. They're playing to the cheap seats. They're very loud. They're very, like, big and over the top in a way that just feels corny and cheesy on camera. Yeah. Except for Jordan Renzo as Matus, who plays it down. He plays it understated. He's probably the only actor out of this that when I watched it, I went, I want to see what he does next. Or if he shows up in something, I'll be like, oh, right, and I'll pay attention because I'll want to see more of him. Because he's the only one I get a sense of, like, yeah, you're quite good at television. Let me see you doing more television. Whereas the rest of them, I'm like, Jesus Christ, calm down. What are you doing? This is a bit OTT. There's great guest stars who show up throughout the run. Con O'Neill has a very sort of significant role as April's dad in a couple of episodes in the middle of the series. Con O'Neill? Con O'Neill!
Oh, yeah, no.
Izzy Hands! Chernobyl!
I know. I know who he is.
Uncle! Con O'Neill! We love Con O'Neill!
I love Con O'Neill. Just so precious,
but
please.
what I'm saying is, like, they attracted some really good talent.
What I was saying was, I didn't see that, so I
just had to, I had to vocalise what was happening because you shrugged and you're not on camera. So no one knows what that pause was.
Well, I'm kind
See, you're distracted.
Look, you can see my arm.
This is the dumbest thing ever. I love it. Yeah,
I'm a bit sad that I didn't see him, actually, because he might have been a saving grace. I don't know.
I think they get great talent. I mean, right, so for example, another great talent, Paul Mark Davis. You saw him in 2 episodes. Paul Mark Davis is a very physical performer who's done a lot of creature work for Doctor Who and Sarah Jane Adventures in particular. He was, if I'm not mistaken, the trickster. Do you know what I mean? Like, the dude has done stuff, yeah? Like, he's absolutely smashed it. In this, they cover him in an impressive costume, an after effect that sort of makes it hard to see what the hell's going on when he's moving, and they put so many filters over his voice that we were like, should we put the subtitles on?
I couldn't understand a word.
I couldn't understand a damn word. That Coracinus of the Shadow King. Why is he not just the Shadow King of the Shadow King?
Like a disease in your teeth or something.
Now, slight reminiscence.
I would have said, please can we put the subtitles on because I can't understand them, but I didn't care.
You'd have to have read Patrick Ness's dialogue. Yeah.
I just didn't care.
Some of my reminiscence of this series, I remember the plant creature thing in the 3rd episode being really impressive. Like, Night Visiting, it's called. I described this to you as basically Little Shop of Horrors meets Conversations with Dead People from Buffy Season 7.
Yeah.
That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
Like, so much so that whilst watching on broadcast, I was like, okay, he's just remembered that, and Patrick Ness did write this one. He's just remembered, in fact, did he write every episode? He wrote every episode. That explains a lot. He remembered that Conversations with Dead People exist and was like, I'll do that, but put a plant in it. It's still very creepy. That's the only episode I remember, like, fondly. Because I was like, it's well executed. The guest actors, the slight makeup of the deceased is really unnerving. These things stretching into, like, windows all around, like, London is creepy. It's like, that looks quite cool. But, I had no urge to show it to you in this little compilation view.
I'm really glad you
So that tells you how much I love it. I remember the coach with the dragon tattoo, is that its name? That is abysmal. That's the 2nd episode. It's about Ram sort of playing football again, trying to get his groove back, whilst his coach makes a deal with this alien thing that's a tattoo on his skin, and it goes around killing people, and the coach gets more sort of... The whole thing's a metaphor for steroid abuse, essentially. The coach's story is a metaphor for steroid abuse.
Okay.
It killed... You know the lovely cosy headmaster who was in Doctor Who Series 8, and he shows up in the 1st episode of this, the lovely, the sort of...
The red hair?
The cuddly, the redhead guy with the little beard. Yeah, he gets his skull crushed on camera in episode 2 by a dragon. Because that's the sort of show we're in.
That's aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to double check this because I want to... Where are you? Where are you? Come on.
I don't mean to be mean.
No, be mean.
I don't care at all about it.
Hey, do you remember the Do you remember the? I wonder why she's credited as. All right, yeah. Do you remember the old lady in the first episode who just randomly comments on catching her husband wanking on the stairs? Do you know who that is?
Yeah, you told me.
June Hudson. So that's their idea of a cute little cameo. This is the lady who fucking knitted the Fourth Doctor's legendary scarf. Like, this is a costume designer whose work on Doctor Who and Blake Seven is so notable that people still go, well, that's very June Hudson, that, in terms of designs of that era.
As a person that is currently knitting the Tom Baker scarf,
you can't wait to get called up one day. Oh, right. So you say you can't wait to get called up one day.
Absolutely.
To talk about, like, catching your elderly husband wanking on the staircase in a sci-fi spin-off from a children's show.
Wow. No, thank you.
Did the gore shock you?
Kind of. Because I just don't associate the Doctor with anything like that.
I think Torchwood did it, but I feel like not bringing the Doctor into it helps.
And also, that was like a crime show kind of thing where they investigated stuff like this, so that was expected. Not in a friggin' school at like prom. But
or the parents exploding in the final episode, for example. Ram's dad getting stabbed through the chest, and then somehow the Shadow King showing up behind Ram, despite the fact that he was just behind his dad.
And we were just imagining running around him. It's quite amusing.
Let's talk a tiny bit about the last episode, because I want to get your thoughts on that. Again, for those who are like, you've been a bit too negative here, I think the one set in the bottle episode set in the classroom isn't bad. It's the best showcase of the 4 young actors, or the 5 young actors, actual abilities on camera, because it's a bottle episode of them in one location. I think the What Quill Did episode is interesting, but it's weird that we only have 8 episodes, and one of them is a Quill light episode, and the other one is a rest of the cast light episode. That's weird. If it was like a 10 episode season, I'd be like, okay, but only because there's a 2-parter in the middle. We get Shadow Kid episode, 2 others, 2 Shadow Kid episodes, 2 others, Shadow Kid finale. It's like,
I don't care. Sorry.
That's not what I don't care. You don't care. That's not what I'm saying. I'm telling them that I quite like bits of the series, but not a lot of it. But I want to know what you thought of the finale, where it all comes together, kind of. So in the mid-season 2-parter, April's mum is given the ability to walk because she's got some Shadow Kid energy in her legs.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a thing. The Shadow King shows up and starts. I'm going to say it. This doesn't feel like a season 1 finale. This feels like a season 2 or 3 finale.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Where suddenly, actual people you know and care about, supposedly, are getting murdered left, right and centre by the villain. If this was this finale like season 2, it'd be really effective, because we'd have grown to love, or at least know better, these characters and their relatives and their families. But we've barely got to know them, and then they're getting exploded.
Yeah.
This series ends with at least 2 of our characters orphaned.
In quick succession.
And it's not kind of really talked about.
But we do get the face acting.
God, we get some face acting. Fadey's face acting.
Serious face acting. It's, as somebody that has only watched the first and last episode, it was confusing because, what's her name? Bland.
Narrow it down.
Long neck.
April.
Oh, no!
I agreed! We should have just been like Diet Coke Girl.
You knew who I was talking
Coke
about!
Girl.
You knew who I was.
We should have been like Diet Coke Girl.
I don't fucking know. Anyway. She fancied the Prince guy.
Look, Sophie Hopkins, if somehow you are watching this, your neck is perfectly normal.
You have
Don't
a lovely
listen.
neck.
Don't listen to this nasty bully over here. Okay, thank you.
And that's
right, moving on.
I've got a
look.
big
If it makes you feel any better, she's got average-sized hands, but when she makes a fist, tiny fists. That fist is smaller than that hand would suggest. There we go. Now we're picking on each other.
Anything else? No. I'll carry on. She fancied She fancied the prince in the first episode.
And then she finds out he's gay and is like, oh, sorry, backs away.
And then she's like madly in love with the guy who's got one leg.
Yeah. Now, the Ram and April's relationship does develop in the mid-series, especially in that two-parter, but, like, yeah. Like,
random. Really random. I just didn't care about anybody. I had no... And I think that would have been the same had I watched the whole thing. I just don't care about them.
So...
I don't feel like...
So when the Shadow King invaded London, you weren't terrified for everybody?
No. Because...
As we saw that bird's eye view shot of that sort of town square and the clearly same CGI model.
Three of them. Oh, it's bad.
So bad.
But also,
there's some great visual effects in this, and then there's the exact polar opposite. There's no kind of middle place. It's either amazing or dreadful.
Here's what I want to know. This is obviously in the world of Doctor Who.
True.
Why doesn't Earth have, like, oh, this thing has happened, everybody get to the bunkers or something, or have some kind of, thing to do to give people some kind of hope or protection against aliens? Are they not just going, oh, God's sake, it's aliens again?
I'll do you one better.
Barbara, there's an alien in the garden again.
Barbara, there's an alien in the garden. I'll do you one better. Why, when it's a citywide incident, a unit not involved?
Oh, that's what we said. Yeah. Where's
now,
unit?
If it was completely self-contained to the school and the surrounding area, I get it, because then it's the whole Buffy Hellmouth thing that they're striving for.
They could have gone,
Sunnydale doesn't get dominated or taken over completely every week. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's not a plant monster going throughout Sunnydale every week. It's self-contained things in a park, in a nightclub, in a warehouse.
But also, there's a reason for that, because it's the Hellmouth. But
the first 3 seasons, the Hellmouth in the school, so it's the whole thing of it's localized.
Yeah.
This is what this series is trying to do too, but then it's like, no, there's an invasion of the whole city. It's like, right, where's Unit then? Where's Unit? And who the living hell are the governors? Because we've got that revelation as well.
It's one of those that obviously they had all intentions of having a series 2.
The series ends with Charlie sacrificing the souls of his people to win. So he's committed genocide of his own people. There was no guarantee he was going to be able to bring them back to life. It was always a maybe. But
to commit genocide.
Well, no, but that's what he's done.
What does that mean?
The point was he was like, the souls were in the soul cabinet because he was holding out hope that one day he'd be able to bring his people back. But there was no guarantee.
He used that to kill the soul.
But he used it to kill the Shadow King.
Shadows. Whatever.
So it's like, you've obviously got a weight there to contend with. The idea of he's like, what have I done? We get like a hint of that at the end of this. But obviously that would have been something to talk about.
He was very emotional. That was good.
Greg Austin's a good actor. I argue that they're all good actors. They just don't get a chance to be good in this.
It's just not good acting.
We get Tanya being taught to fight, so she's a fighter now because she could do 3-arm movements.
She could block.
We've got
in 5 minutes.
We've got Miss Quill pregnant with babies that are going to devour her from the inside. We have got April dead, but then reviving in the body of the Shadow King, Coracanus. Which is obviously meant to be played as like a... No, seriously. What the hell were they going to do with that?
Coracanus.
What the hell were they going to do with that? Coric's anus. What the hell were they going to do with that, though?
I'm 32.
But what the hell were they going to do with that?
God knows.
Like, it makes for an interesting cliffhanger, but it doesn't
make
for a, like...
Was it going to be like a quirky sitcom?
There's some of that in the two-part mid-series. There's some of that in the two-part mid-series. I think it's she and Ram have sex, and the Shadow King has sex with, like...
that's referenced.
And he sort of is like...
And he can't get it up.
It's never happened to me. And you're like, you have just removed any horror from this character. It's completely gone now.
The fact that the effects around him made his eyes go all wobbly,
yeah.
It was already funny enough.
And then, of course, the governors are revealed to be this sort of organisation in a time-space pocket or whatever preparing for the ascension, the arrival, or whatever it's called. And we learn that, again, amazing cast members set up. Like, he's incredible. Oh, I love him in everything he's been in. Oh, he was also in Sarah Jane Adventures. He was the guy with the parrot in the time travel episode.
Yeah.
And some fans are like, well, it's the same character. It's like, no. Don't drag Sarah Jane Adventures into this. But apparently the governors are working for the Weeping Angels, who are part of a prophecy where a giant weeping angel is coming. What? Now, admittedly, great shot of her with a snap neck lying on the floor. It's a really simple visual trick. She's obviously lay on her back, but they've dressed the costume backwards. They've dressed like her shoes in a way where from the shot, she looks like her head's been turned around. Great shot. Pointless cliffhanger.
Why didn't she get sent to a different place? That's what the Weeping Angels do.
Not unless they want to get rid of you. Like the two-parter.
The
two-parter in Series 5, they don't do that to people, do they? Like the clerics, they snap people's necks.
Well, I don't remember.
The angel stories where they send people back in time are actually less than the ones where they just kill people.
Oh, really?
That's how they feed, but if they want to kill you, they just kill you. Because remember Ian Glenn in the Angels two-parter in Series 5, like, it's got him by the neck, and that's the whole thing. It's like, as soon as they leave, it's going to snap his neck.
Oh, yeah.
That's how they kill Bob, but then they take his consciousness and they talk through Angel Bob, through the communicator and everything. Yeah. Do you want to hear a little bit about what would have happened?
No. No, okay.
So, this is an article from... This is the TV series finale.com version of the story, because many of the stories around this, like Radio Times and everything, are from edited or re-released and repackaged articles, because some journalism across pop culture sites is lazy. They just get older stuff, repackage it slightly, and re-release it like it's brand new, because everyone has forgotten, because the news moves fast. But this one is from 2016, 2017. Is class cancelled? Recently, creator Patrick Ness took to Twitter to discuss the future of the BBC America TV shows. This is an article specifically from the POV of the BBC America release. A spin-off of Doctor Who, the sci-fi drama, follows four students. On Twitter, Ness said he will not continue with the show, even if it is renewed. So this was after a gap with no news, yeah? Oh. He goes on to say that if the BBC wanted a second season, they'd be filming right now, and a second season looks unlikely. As of reporting, this is in 2017, the BBC has not clarified if class is cancelled or not. Spoiler alert, they did shortly after. So Patrick Ness tweeted, "Hey, this kind of stuff matters very little in the face of the London Bridge attack." Oh my god, he used that day to have this rant.
What?
Really?
Oh
like,
my
literally, dude,
god.
wait a day.
No.
Wait a day. Or, better idea, don't mention the London Bridge attack in the tweet.
Oh, dickhead. Sorry,
I mean, or even is just thing to say, I know this sort of thing is small potatoes in light of recent world events, but I just wanted to get this out there for those who were curious and following my work. You just say that. You don't go, but this. On the future of class, I decided a while back that with unbelievable regret, I won't be writing any more class, even if season 2 moves ahead. So this was him making a point of saying, well, I've heard no news, but that's fine because I won't work on it anyway. Obviously him trying to get...
Well, I wasn't bothered about it anyway.
It has been the most amazing experience. I loved it. I'm so proud of the show and what we made. My heart just bursts with happy. But we should be filming right now. With the new cycles of Who, we pretty much need to be on the air before even 2019. But we're not. And that's just TV and how it goes. Not even the littlest bit bitter. What an amazing experience.
Right, okay. The fact that you said not even a little bit bitter.
Huge thank yous to BBC Three and BBC America for their love and enthusiasm for class. BBC America in particular absolutely loves the show. Now, BBC America did a lot of promo stuff around the show, so that's him sucking up to them, hoping that the BBC America tie-ins would lead to, like, oh, we'll budget season 2, or whatever the issue was, yeah? Wow. There was also, like, an escape room themed around class that happened at a couple of venues in America around the time of the show's release.
How very boring.
There was... No, apparently...
How do I escape from watching
Apparently, the escape rooms reviewed really well.
How do I escape from watching class?
There was a... I say this with love because the people who work behind the scenes, especially on the web content for Doctor Who and all of its affiliated shows and franchise branch-offs, are people who love Doctor Who. But of course, they love Doctor Who. If they're given a new assignment for a new show, that's their job to promote it. It's not like they love that show, but they have to treat it with the same level of care, attention, and enthusiasm. I know people who worked on that around the time. They're all lovely people. They were given the task of making specific class content, one of which was a thing called Classmates, where they got a bunch of people who were into Doctor Who or were like, younger upcoming vloggers, reviewers who were like passionate about this genre stuff, especially like Doctor Who related things, to do like roundup post-show reviews for class. But by calling it Classmates, they were creating this sort of false sense of, this is the name we want for the fandom. Look, it already has a fandom. Here are these people who are already in the fandom. It's like, no, what you've done is you've got people to review and rate the show who are looking to expand their online presence, who are looking to get their stuff out there. This is a great way for them to do it. But you're framing it like this show is a phenomenon and they're part of the phenomenon, when really, you're hiring people to do reviews. Do you know what I mean? And they're not going to, like, that doesn't mean they're being disingenuous, but when you are hired to talk about a thing on its official platform, you're not going on to badmouth it. And even if you do have bad things to say, those won't be in the final edit. Case in point, back in 2015, I appeared on Doctor Who fan show's Reaction. It was named Review, but they realised afterwards probably the wrong way to call it. Reaction to The Magician's Apprentice. If you go and watch that video, it's still up on YouTube, on the BBC, don't forget to click below to subscribe to the official Doctor Who BBC YouTube channel. You will see that I'm in that episode, The Magician's Apprentice, Doctor Who fan show episode. I say nice things about what I think I say nice things about what I liked about it.
That's it.
I make little jokes about some other stuff, and I don't talk about the stuff I don't like.
Yeah. Because
I'm on the official Doctor Who YouTube channel, and they're not going to use any of it if I just go on and go, well, I thought this was shite. Do you know what I mean? It's simple as that. Does it mean I'm lying? No. But I'm in an official product for the show. Like, I'm not sucking up to it and being disingenuous. I'm just doing what they would want me to do without breaking my own biases or critique of the show.
Yeah.
Simple as that. And the Classmates did that. I remember watching a couple of those episodes of the thing on YouTube when it came out, and they were very diplomatic and straightforward. Like, they were honest about their stuff, but obviously any criticisms they had that were like, okay, that's just a full-on criticism, was going to be left out. But it created this weird vibe in the Doctor Who sort of fan circles online that we were being forced to like Class. You've got to like Class. You're part of the family now. All that sort of stuff. Add on to that the ownership. There was a generation of people watching Class who genuinely... Because I think it has fans. There are people who love it. But there was that ownership of people who didn't grow up with Buffy.
Are they okay?
Or didn't grow up with Charmed. Or didn't grow up with, hell, even freaking Power Rangers. Do you know what I mean? These shows that have the format of people of a certain age, around school, around college, dealing with this thing that's their secret and they're the only ones who can stop it. This format has existed forever, but if you were 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 when this show came out, this was your first version of it. Potentially. So people fell hard for this. Because it was also part of Tumblr stan culture, shipping culture. It ticked a lot of boxes for people who are hungry for a show like this.
Mm.
I wonder if many of them would rewatch it now and go, oh, this isn't very good, actually. Or some might still find a comfort in it. Again, we've talked about this many times. We don't like not liking things. We'd prefer to like things. It means they're less of a waste of time.
Absolutely.
But no one's mourning this show, is what I'm getting at. It had a bit of a second life on Big Finish. Big Finish acquired the license. But as part of the legal parameters, they weren't allowed to make any stories set after Season 1. So all of the Big Finish Class stories are set during Season 1.
Well, why?
I don't know why. To do with BBC Three, BBC Studios, BBC America, whatever. I don't know.
That's really random.
Don't know. Maybe Patrick Ness had a cut off of no, I have to greenlight whatever's next or whatever. Don't know. But they weren't allowed to do it. All of the cast came back to do the first couple of box sets. Some more box sets.
Couple of box sets.
Some Big Finish record 2 or 3 in a row. They record 12 audios, seasons, and then they release them as box sets. Some of the cast came back for a further batch later on, but other characters were recast as some of the actors went, no, I'm good, I want to leave it there. Maybe because they feel awkward.
I watched the show.
No, but maybe because they felt awkward about it. It's this whole thing of we're kind of just doing this thing that's not going anywhere, and I just don't really want to be there. Or maybe it was just I'm doing this job, so I'm not available, or I'm not acting anymore, so I don't really want to do it. Sorry, it could be anything, it could be any reason. But it's just wow, it's this little footnote that got this weird thing from Patrick Ness having a little rant afterwards. I remain baffled, he said, by the shed schedule decisions of BBC One, because it got a repeat on BBC One, after its BBC Three broadcast, which were odd for a critically acclaimed show. But again, I'm so grateful for the chance.
Critically acclaimed? Is it critically acclaimed?
And thank you! You guys have been amazing. You know how harrowing it is to write at the Whoniverse, but the welcome has been brilliant. So thank you all so much for the love and support for Class, all the tweets and love for the cast, all the videos, amazing. If I'm honest, a Season 2 has been faint hope, but it is a fact that BBC America loves the show. So who knows? If so, I wish them wings. But what a lucky man I've been to have been able to make a show I'm so proud of and work with wonderful people. Never even dreamed it. So thank you to everyone who watched and loved it and argued about it and watched it again. You made my heart swell. So even there, a little bitter dig on like people who didn't like it but still watched it. Thank you. Do you know what I mean? And if I had got a second season, Weeping Angel, Civil War, and Planet, Quill has a dangerous son, Charlie and Matoos shirtless wood chopping. So obviously one of those is like tongue in cheek. So yeah, I'm really sad. Saddest in my whole career, but it's the right choice. Much, much love. And I think truly that my cast are going to be smashing it for years to come. I fought and fought and fought for the show. I'd love to be filming right now, but onwards, onwards. So yeah, he's not bitter at all.
Wow.
Again, like,
so bitter.
I get that though. Like, you know, it's his first like time show running a thing, and if it had worked out, it could have been like a new career avenue for him, writing books and show running like sort of dramas and that. So I get it, but also he's very much showing his vibe there without saying it directly.
Real, yeah.
Before we finish this up, would like to crack into what we're calling Not Chris's Notes, which is a highlight of some of these rewatches. You made some notes on this one.
Would you like to hear them?
I'd love to hear them. I'd love to hear them. Whip them out whilst we all gaze at this lack of DVD or Blu-ray over here. I want to stress, I went to the Doctor Experience just before it closed, and they had a lot of stuff on reduction in the shop, because obviously they were trying to clear out as much stock as possible. Including in that was a bunch of DVD and Blu-ray releases. Mostly stuff that I already owned, so I wasn't really what's it, but Class was also there. The Blu-ray for season 1 was, I believe, $4.99. The DVD box set was $3.99. Still didn't touch it. Completionism can swivel.
Swivel? Wow. Whoa. These are long.
Okay, so these are your notes on For Tonight We May Die and The Lost.
Yeah. Okay, so the first episode. Why are sixth formers having a prom?
Yes! Yes. Yes. Yes.
Doesn't make any
A
sense.
really sad prom in the one location that recurs from Doctor Who. The theatre that was seen in The Caretaker. Why is Coal Hill now an academy in a completely different building?
Who knows? Who cares?
Why does the Doctor sort of recognise Clara's name? He's meant to not know who she is.
Dunno.
Oh, God.
Dunno.
Shout out to Danny Pink, though. Good on you. Deserve better.
We don't have...
Danny Pink deserve better.
We don't have individual desks here. Individual
yes, that's so American.
So dumb.
So American.
Why is everybody in their 30s?
They're not, but I get you. The way everyone sort of is dressed and coded, they look a lot older than they're meant to be in the show.
Creepy man gets very close to people.
Who was this?
I don't know. Oh, the legless guy.
Ram.
When he talks to people, he is like less than a foot away from you talking. There's no need. No need.
No, it's not.
Oh no, unless it's the Prince guy, because afterwards I wrote, it's very obvious he's an alien.
Oh yeah, I'll be the Prince guy then. Unless you're just saying it's very obvious he's an alien. I get what you mean. There's a couple scenes with Ram, especially the Lost, where he's like really close to him.
Really close, and he spits a lot.
Well, he's angry. His dad just got killed in front of him on a football field. Give him a break.
They're clearly not footballers though, because their football boots are way too clean. Somebody was eating with their mouth open. Automatically special hell. Gross. I'd forgotten my earphones the other week, and I had to get on a public bus for 40 minutes. There was somebody behind me chewing gum with her mouth open. I hope
you're all still taking shots every time she derails and gets distracted.
I wanted to rip my ears out. Anyway, what do you know about shadows? Why are you being pissy about shadows, douche?
Okay.
Why have I written that?
It's because it was so generic. It's like, what do you know about shadows? What do you know about the shadows? It's like, what?
Why are you being really obnoxious? Why doesn't she know?
There's a creepy idea in there. The idea of like, holy shit, they've got two shadows. But it's like, yeah. Stephen Moffat did that in the Library 2-parter back in 2008, and it was scary. You're just doing it again, Patrick. This is the opposite of what Glass sounds like.
Something was obviously happening with the teenage girl. Well, they're all teenagers. The younger girl who's bumped up to sixth form. She was being attacked in her room, wasn't she? Oh god,
yeah. Shadowkin was like beating the hell out of her and trying to murder her, and then her mum comes up and is like, What's all this noise? After like 3 minutes of her fighting for her life.
But she's on FaceTime with that guy, legless guy.
Yeah.
And he's saying,
not yet legless.
What's your address? And she says, I don't know my address. Why would I know my address or something? And it's like, are you shitting me?
Oh, the dialogue is awful. Especially in the pilot.
Address?
Especially in the pilot, the dialogue is dreadful. Yeah. Even Capaldi's dialogue written is dreadful. His delivery saves it.
I wrote, I'm out. Be careful of your shadow at prom this evening. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me? Why would you say that? Be careful of your shadow. You'd think that person's mentally unstable.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going... Do you know what? I'm going home. And I put a rolling eyes emoji.
I don't give credit to Joss Whedon in this day and age, but, like, go and watch, like, a season 2 episode of Buffy, and then watch the first episode of this. And it's like, how is 1998, like, American high school, more authentic and believable than 2016 high school written in 2016? It's mad.
No teenagers would not think that this was cool. Somebody asked if it looked cool or if this was cool or something. Did it at least look cool?
I can't remember. I don't know.
The answer was no. No, they would literally have had prom less than a year ago. These kids would be trying to get into real clubs. They would have gotten in because they were in their 30s.
Jesus.
Jump cuts are painful. So...
Oh, there was loads of like, see that again from this angle, see that again from this angle, see it. But that only really works if it's like a visual stunt, because it's sort of making you go, oh, I'm appreciating how this is done, when really it's just sort of people going, oh, and a visual effect happening to them. It's not impressive, guys. Oh my god! Ram's girlfriend, who was basically just
exploded.
But she was exposition, and then she was exploded.
I love you for you.
I love you for you. You're really sensitive inside, and people just need to get to know the real you. Oh, I'm dead. It's just like, oh, for God's sake, so bad. So bad.
Oh no, his football career is over. And those are the words I said, and you just stared at me and was nodding. I was like,
that's the entire plot of the second episode, and his angst from this point on, yes.
When April was, like, attacking the shadow shit, I said, whoa, she is Hulk. She has big strength. Totally ripped that metal chair leg off. Who could do that? No, they're screwed into it.
Oh god, someone does it in the hall. God. Oh, that happens in the last episode as well. Like, those aren't cheap, the headmaster says, and it's like, okay.
Well, they are, because they're very uncomfortable. How in God's name is he stood up?
Yeah, when Ram twats the Shadow King with a chair...
He's just stood up.
And he's just stood up. He's just stood up. It's like, no. You'd be hobbling around, like, you are bleeding out from the knee. You, up until this point in your life, had 2 legs. Your balance would be completely... You'd be losing blood, you'd be, like... Your head would be dizzy, he's just stood there for long scenes while Peter Capaldi's in the foreground yelling at a man in prosthetics. It's just like, what is happening?
The Doctor doesn't know who Clara is.
So why is he reacting to the name on the board?
Yeah, reference.
If you really want to give the fans at home something to look at, have it just drift briefly over the top left corner and be like, oh shit!
Don't have him look at it.
It's who's it? Is it for the... What's it for? What school has a board of, here are the teachers who are dead, That's presume.
What it was. It was like...
Who has that?
It was almost like one of those...
in a school, who has that?
Like, you get them at memorials, for soldiers and...
like in a school, where there's just a memorial for dead teachers. What?
No.
Clara's not, like...
I would not send my kids to that school. They've got a list of people...
Also, it's set in 2016. Clara's not dead as far as the school is concerned. She just stopped turning up to work.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
She's so dumb.
Anyway, football is an unbelievably boring sport. That's what the Doctor said, and I agree, because I wrote, preach it, Doctor. Because I agree.
It would have made more sense for it to just be like a little memorial for Danny Pink somewhere, like in memoriam of Mr. Pink. Do you know what I mean? He sort of looks at it.
Did you listen to it?
No, I did, the football thing, but just like, that would make more sense for him to sort of look at it and kind of have a moment and then be like, because of course, he'd be like, hang on, I know that guy, why do I... And then move away.
Or have it that he looks at it and doesn't do anything because he doesn't know who she is, and it's sadder that he doesn't react to it.
Yeah. But then that's also going, we're expecting you to know the other show. And it's like, well, yeah, it's a spin-off. Yeah, but you also want this thing to have its own legs. Because BBC America loves it.
But it doesn't have its own legs because it just got cut off.
Oh, good lord. Keep going. We're low on battery. We've got
I've lost the will to live. They just admitted this is ripping off Buffy.
Yeah, oh yeah, they name it as Hellmouth.
They name it, yeah.
They name several things that no viewer the age they're hoping the show will appeal to will recognise.
The doctor that takes the piss just called them amazing humans.
Yeah? You think he's being sarky?
No. He wasn't being sarky.
No, I said, do you think he's being sarky? Do you hope he's being sarky? The moment he goes to the TARDIS, he's like, what a bunch of pudding brains. Goodbye.
It's not what I'd imagine him
Clara.
Who?
A very good man. Clara who?
Doctor Who. Ah! Let me guess. There's something in the chest.
The cabinet films.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is he talking to? You know, it just cuts that weird window of him in that.
Doesn't work, does it?
It looks so dumb.
And it's also that whole thing of like, so it's bigger on the inside. Okay, you do realise that like, the more things that are like that in this universe, the less special that concept is, right?
Yeah. Dumb. And I wrote at the end.
Just have it be a black void and these little things just sort of shimmer in the void. Do you know what I mean? Because that would still look kind of beautiful. Like this whole thing of like, oh, it is big, but it's just nothingness. And there's just these little flickering lights and it's him hoping that they've survived. No, it's just like, look, it's like a desert and a sea and a mountainscape. It's like, what? Why?
I wrote at the end, what a load of dog shit.
Mm-hmm.
That was just the first episode.
What about the last one? Speed round.
Title drop within the first 60 seconds. I don't like...
I'm just doing what the theme song does. Beat you over the face.
God, I hate it. I don't like any of them, so I'm not invested in the slightest. The man was very pissed off at that football.
Okay.
He keeps getting closer and closer to her face.
I think you really need to start writing what these moments are, because this is just bizarre.
I'm talking about the one-leg guy.
Ram.
I can't understand a thing that alien is saying. How come Unit or the Doctor don't know this is happening?
Yep.
He didn't
the
kill
worldwide
me.
invasion and they've not registered it.
He didn't kill me because there's a little bit of their soul in my legs, isn't there? That's actually a line.
That is a dialogue.
That is a line.
That is a line of dialogue.
Wow. I just wrote afterwards, wow.
Just phenomenal. And we talked a little bit about that, like April's mum being played by an actor who is a wheelchair user, and the choice then to have a whole chunk of the series where she can walk when the actor cannot walk.
Yeah.
It's like, that is an odd choice, because like, obviously coming at it from the angle of we want to make sure that our cast are like diverse and actually representative of the sorts of people that they're playing, especially if like their faith or a physical disability or whatever is part of their story. Absolutely, but you consciously know, because it's the same writer for all 8 episodes, that at one point she's going to have to walk around for several
there's
episodes.
going to be a problem.
So you've either got to be so prepared and take great care of your actor to pull off those moments and work with your director and maybe a body double and things like that to pull off those moments and make it authentic so that you can retain the authenticity of the actor playing that role and also sell to the audience these moments. Or you have to make the unfortunate but sometimes necessary decision to cast an actor who is like not a wheelchair user from the start. But then you're taking away their job op. So as the writer and the showrunner, here's an idea. Don't write that into the show. Cast a wheelchair-using actor and don't write her walking around for several episodes, because it becomes painfully obvious to the viewer over those episodes that they're just propping her up in places and things like that. Again, not taken away from the actor. She does a great job as April's mum with the terrible dialogue she's given. But it's like, Patrick Ness could have just chosen to not write that element into the story. He's making a rod for his and everyone else's back. It's so weird. It's so weird. Sorry, just ugh.
If there's a fighting montage, I'm out. When
Quill's training Tanya, and it's just like, do that with your arm. And then it actually works. She just sort of holds her arms up and fights off a Shadowkin. How piss weak must their swings be?
And I wrote, I'm out.
Yeah, again.
Fighting. Somebody rings One Leg Man, and his voicemail is, "Who even leaves messages anymore?" It's like, who? No, It's an option to have a message on your voicemail.
Also, tonally, we're in the middle of parents being murdered, like left, right, and centre, and there's a random gag like that thrown in.
No, it doesn't work. No, everybody leaves messages because nobody picks up the phone because people are scared to talk on the phone. Who leaves messages anymore? What? Everybody does. The first episode, she fancies the prince. Now she loves Ram. Eh? The slow motion death and music. To be fair, you missed 7 episodes in between, so yeah. The slow motion death and music. Yikes. She taught how to fight aliens in 5 minutes. Amazing. Sound mix equals shite. Yep. Oh, yeah. Sound mix is not great on this. I think Blair Mowat does an alright job with the score, but it's just not a particularly memorable kind of... Like that... That motif is nice, but apart from that, what? You don't have to give it praise. It's okay. It's shite. It's very, very shite. If there's someone watching this who actually likes Class, genuinely, please tell us why. Please tell us below, but also please tell us why, because I want to engage with folks. I want to see what the positives were for those who really enjoyed it. I want to understand. And know that I am jealous of you if you do like it. I wish I liked it too. I just can't. There's too much about it that makes me go, nah fam. Hence why this will forever be an empty little bracket, little easel for this show. Thank you, BBC iPlayer, for making it so I didn't have to spend money to buy this to watch it. I really appreciate that. I think I can safely say I'll never, ever watch it. Okay. Ever. No. No, please. No, thank you. For those who don't know, we did a fantastic series of sketches on Five Who Fans around the time of the show coming out, including the Class premiere event video, which was filmed in this room on a different looking couch with a different painted wall. And is well worth your time, especially if you want to look up all the Easter eggs of the balloons. Look at every balloon in that video and see if you can decipher each of the messages written on those balloons. We'll be back again very soon after a year's gap of Doctor Who. No Doctor Who for a whole year. And when it came back with... Well, we'll see you next time. Oh. Bye, everybody! Dr. Disco!